driving home, and I was thinking, I printed this little picture, and it talked about how someone is no longer in your life when your timelines don't line up anymore. And I don't know, just think about that for a moment. And that's so true. Because like with Trent, we don't run into each other. Our paths don't cross. And they did for a moment a month ago. And then I was like, okay. But I felt like that was part of closure for me, because he had disappeared for a year and a half, just mid-conversation through texting, and then just nothing. So then when I saw him in the Winn-Dixie parking lot, and I caught him on the side of my eye, it was over a month ago, and I kind of double take, I'm like, oh, that's Trent. I'm like, okay. And such. And we chatted for a moment, and then he called me that night, and we talked for 2 hours, which was good. I think I already talked about this anyway. But then I remember a couple, I don't know, 2 years ago or so, in a text, he was always telling me how he was not wanting a relationship. He wasn't relationship material. Like that was a constant from him, and I never asked him for that. I never asked him, but he constantly wanted to make sure I knew that he was not in a position for a relationship. And then about 2 years ago, he had texted, if he ever found himself in that position, I would be the one. It would be me. And I held on to that for a long time. And that was just kind of like this little postie in the back of my mind. And I'm like, well, if he ever gets to that place again in his life, then he'll find me. Because he said it would be me. It was just kind of like lingering. It's just there. So then in that conversation, 2 hours, we just talked about a lot of stuff and whatever. And when I asked him if he had dated anybody, and his answer surprised me. I don't think he knew. But he's like, yeah, I dated a lady briefly for a bit, blah, blah, blah. And he was around her kids and stuff, and they went to church together. And I remember I was sitting on on my little couch on the front porch, and I'm like, oh, huh. That was my brain. I'm like, so, not me. And earlier in the conversation, he had reminded me again that he doesn't have a want or need for a relationship and such, and made sure I knew that again. And I'm like, dude, no. Okay. So then it's like, that was kind of raw. That was raw and real, because I had hoped that one day he would wake up and see me. I really hoped that. I prayed that for a long time, because I thought we'd be good together. Man, nah, that's okay. For you to constantly tell me that that's not what you wanted, but if you ever did, it would be with me. But then you disappeared, I don't know, like 6 months after he had texted that, for a year and a half. And then he'd had a relationship this last year and a half, and then he broke up with her because she was grief-ridden because her child had died. And he said it was too hard, which is pretty sad that he did that. So of course I'm so thankful that that wasn't me that gave my heart to him in that way. And then, whatever, and then break up. Because that's just, obviously he was not, is not, he just is not. So closure, I knew it was going to be closure. Our conversation, at the end, I kind of felt like he was fixing to ask to actually see me. But then, like, something, whatever was said, and it took it away from that. But I felt like that was right there. But then I'm like, no, that's not what I want. So, closure. And I did tell him that I'm not going to chase him. And I'm not chasing him, but I did ask him if he decides to disappear in his dark and gloomy, manic, depressive state, or starts dating somebody and just decides to just let me know. Just let me know. And he said he would. And I think he wished me a Merry Christmas day after Christmas, maybe. And then on a week ago, Sunday, I'd sent a picture when we were camping. I was just sitting on the pier, just of like the water and stuff, but nothing, no response, no acknowledgement. Which is fine, because that's what that is. Closure. So when closure happens, you can still have interaction with someone, but that hope of a future, hope to have something, that it's closure and healing from that. And then like with Ernest and the court stuff, and that closure on that, on divorce, closure of that communication or lack of, that disrespect, that me being raw, to me being available to someone who disrespected me and did not see my worth and value, and there was nothing I could do to prove myself worthy. But it was still that hope of what if. And there's grief in that. And that's okay. Because there's healing in that. Closure. Because him and I, we still have, everyone has relationships with people. It just depends on what that relationship is. So we still have a relationship because we have children together and communication on that. But closure for the last 30 years, because we met at 19 and I'm 49. So closure doesn't mean that you never speak to them again. It means that conversation is now in a healthy place for you, and there's boundaries, and there's that authenticity, transparency, where you choose all that and who's safe and who's not. So for both of these men, for closure to have been happening so close together, pretty amazing, because they are the same person. lot of similarities to them, and the way they view life and their history, their mindset, their communication style. Very similar, and that's why Trent was comfortable to me, because he was familiar instantly. And it's what it was. So, closure, like, there's no, I mean, if he messaged again one day, I mean, it's fine, and all is well, but my heart is not in that place now. I don't get butterflies now. I don't just get this overwhelming energy now.